Texas quarterback Arch Manning failed to live up to expectations in his starting debut Saturday. In the 14-7 loss to Ohio State, Arch Manning completed 17 of 30 passes for 170 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. RC had a lot to say after Arch's debut.
Arch Manning, period, point blank, is neither a generational nor transcendent talent. Arch Manning can't run like Lenora Sellers. He can't throw like Garrett Nussmeier or Bryce Underwood. He's not Trevor Lawrence. He's not Caleb Williams. Those guys were what people felt like were generational, can't-miss college quarterbacks.
Hey, Dan, are you done taking notes?
He's been texting about this like all weekend.
Okay, so after his debut and what we saw, do you consider Arch Manning a generational quarterback talent?
100%.
Can you define to me what that means?
Well, generational talent would be that you have physical attributes that are rare and unique. And Arch Manning 1,000% has that. And it's not a conversation. One, when did 6'4", 225 pounds, 4'5", 4'6" in the 40.
None of those things.
100%. He's 100% 6'4", 220 plus pounds, and is like 4'5", 4'6" in the 40. Got clocked at 21 miles an hour on GPS. When did that not become at the quarterback spot generational physical ability, let alone elite, rare bloodlines when it comes to the quarterback position? That's generational. That doesn't mean that he's going to become a Hall of Famer, but that's generational talent. When we're talking about 21 miles per hour on GPS, that's what, and this is said with all due respect and admiration, that's Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson type GPS numbers, 21 miles an hour. So that's what he's a generational talent. And I know everyone got caught up in the week 1 performance and all that. I could go through a list of a lot of cats in their first college starts against real opponents, not against less opponents, real opponents, having much less numbers statistically than Arch Manning.
It's not about, but that's the thing though, Dan. Like you're trying to play this numbers game.
No.
We don't have to play a numbers game.
But that's where we got caught up in.
But the thing is this though, we don't have to play a miles per hour game to know that Arch Manning running the football ain't like Lenora Sellers running the football at South Carolina.
Sure.
Right? We don't have to play a numbers game to know that Arch Manning running the football wasn't like Jaden Daniels running the football versus Florida when he went for 250.
Yeah.
Those things are not the same. I don't care what this little vest you wear on top of your nipples say. And what I hate about it is I think Arch Manning is going to be a really good quarterback. Right. I think Arch Manning is talented. I love that he got dog in him. But generational talent is different. Who are generationally talented quarterbacks to you?
I mean, present day or college kids?
If you go present
like in
day,
the NFL?
In the NFL. Who's a
Lamar.
He ain't Lamar.
I'm not saying he's Lamar.
But it's the other thing, though. The people you're comparing him to, right? Like, let's just talk about the people you're comparing him to. You know what Lamar Jackson had by this point in college? A Heisman.
But Lamar played a lot more. He had stopped.
Because he was that good.
RC, Lamar's first start, he went 9 of 20 with a pick.
This is third start. Stop saying it's
against
his
a real opponent.
It's his third.
Against a real opponent.
And also, too.
Okay,
it's
so we
his
can go
third
to
year in college.
But he hasn't played bowling.
Because you know why? Because if you're Trevor Lawrence and you're a transcendent generational quarterback talent, Kelly Bryant can be the incumbent starter, take you to the college football playoff. You can only have played okay. And Dabo Swinney could go, you are so damn talented, Kelly Bryant got to sit on the bench. You can have Spencer Rattler, who was the Heisman frontrunner going into the season, who was a projected first-round pick. And you could have Caleb Williams, and it could be mid-season, and you say, no, he's too good. I can't keep him on the bench. Quinn Ewers, a 7th-round pick.
Kept him on the bench.
Kept him on the bench for 2 years.
But you and I both know we're in a very different era when it comes to that with NIL. Quinn Ewers was making a lot of NIL money.
Not more than him.
Not last year, yes he was.
Not more than him.
Yeah, last year, yes he was. NIL matters. So like that point of play behind or whatnot, that does matter. If he's not a generational talent, then who is? And how are we measuring it? Because we can't sit there and go, because of the way the first start on the road.
There's very few of them. I think there's less than what you think. I think John Elway was a generational talent. I think Patrick Mahomes is a generational talent. I don't think Tom Brady, I don't think Drew Brees, I don't think Peyton Manning are generational talents. I think Andrew Luck ended up being a generational talent. I don't think there's a ton of them out there.
But he a generational talent because there's not a lot of difference.
Production. Let me chime in here because I love the argument back and forth between y'all. I ain't trying to get in the way of it. But here's the reality. The operative word here is. Do you believe Arch Manning is a generational talent? He could be, but he's not.
Why not?
Not yet. What have you seen to say that he is?
There's no evidence.
There's no evidence. See, the real problem to crystallize in a roundabout way what RC is saying, but a lot of other people are saying too,
yes, sir,
is that what the hell was he doing as a Heisman finalist in everybody's eyes before a game was played? You just finished saying he didn't play against real competition until this past Saturday. Well, if he didn't play, if he just played against Louisiana Monroe and Mississippi State, and that wasn't real competition, then what the hell was he a finalist for the Heisman Trophy in people's eyes for? He didn't do anything yet. We're not saying
his last name.
That's right. Of course. That's what I'm saying. The point is, and that's where the resentment comes in. That he doesn't deserve it because he didn't do this.
No.
But the reality is that Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, Archie Manning, we know who they are. The first family of football. We know who they are. We know that they've earned it. We know what they bring to the table. And we believe because of his pedigree that he will do the same. But there's one thing to say, this is what we think he will be. There's another thing entirely to literally go in to a season before a game is played, bypass numerous other qualified candidates that have produced and have a better resume than him up to this point, and let him skip and hop over all of those guys to say, this is a Heisman finalist. You have football experts saying this stuff. And then you go up against Ohio State, and we see none of that. We see none of that.
And also, basically, what you're saying is, and this is, I'm going to ask this question. You're saying he's big and fast right now. With what you've given me, you said he's big and fast. I want to see him race Lenoris Sellers, and I want to see him stand next to one another. Because right now, Lenoris Sellers is more physically imposing, and he seems to be at least a better runner. I don't think Lenoris Sellers is a generational talent at the quarterback position.
Okay, so maybe we have different definitions of generational talent. So one, I didn't have anybody as like a Heisman favorite, but he's the quarterback of the number one team or one of the top three. So he's going to be, I don't really care who the player was. He was going to be high on the Heisman list because Texas is loaded. So that's just a part of the reality of the game. The second thing when it comes to I think that at that position, when you are big, when you are fast, when you are supremely talented throwing the football, that's generational talent.
So here's my question to you then. Did you believe Joe Burrow? Now, because this is what I think. Joe Burrow was a late bloomer.
Yeah.
Right? 16 touchdowns, 5 interceptions in his second to last year in college. Yeah. And then he turned into this thing. A lot of those things we think about Joe Burrow turning into were based on intangibles, right? And when we look at his production in the league, he's going to have a generational quarterback level of production.
Right.
But I don't believe we look at Joe Burrow as a generational talent when we talk about the things he is and the different things he was able to accomplish. Arch Manning could very well do that.
Yeah.
He could stay in college 2 more years and develop into a number 1 overall pick. I think the kid is talented. Right? But there's something that has to jump off of the page. Even in watching him excel against other teams that are of lesser competition, I've never watched it jump off of the page. When we saw Trevor Lawrence, I was like, that's what it looks like.
Totally. I mean, but here's I believe that there's more guys that fall under that category than you. But I just think when you look at all those attributes, and yes, his last name does matter because there's a bloodline there that is relevant. And people have used it against him. But everyone got caught up in that one game, which was his first start against a real competitive team, or let's call it a Power 5 or Power 4 team. And everyone was like, told you not generational talent. Peyton Manning's first start against a real team, they lost 42-17.
Here's the thing, also not a generational talent.
Okay, Lamar Jackson was 9 of 20, 28. Patrick Mahomes is 13. Josh Allen threw one touchdown and 5 picks the first time he played against the. That's a generational
But
talent.
here's the thing, though. But you're having a different conversation into what they grew into. We didn't give Josh Allen this label his second year
of course
in college. We didn't give Patrick Mahomes this label coming out of Texas Tech. Yes, he can turn into one of the greatest quarterbacks that's ever played. Yeah. What I'm saying is, at this point in their career, the people we view from that prism have already accomplished things that makes us view them that way.
But he doesn't have the opportunity or the body of work to accomplish it. 2, you have to become that. To become the Lamars and the Joshes and the Patricks, like there has to be generational talent, very rare talent in your body to go do that.
He doesn't have any rare talent.
See,
what have you seen from him that's rare?
Okay, let me ask you this then. I've said it twice now, but let me ask you this.
A miles per hour?
That when you're big and fast, that's rare.
Okay, listen. When Arch Manning goes into the game, when he is replacing Quinn Ewers last year to become the running quarterback, he's doing that not because they believe he has Lamar Jackson level talent, because Quinn Ewers can't run out of sight in the day. He run a 5 too long. Okay. So let's put him in the game. Okay. But if he's also generational too, let's throw the football, because there has to be a point of that too. He's not Lamar Jackson running the ball. He's not Cam Newton. He's not Josh Allen.
Did you see some of the throws in the fourth quarter?
I did.
I watched it. Okay, so like as much, I agree with you with Lenore Sellers, who played against a significantly more challenging defense.
No, I think Arch Manning can be good. And that's what I hate about the conversation, because the conversation is nothing the kid should have to listen to.
Sure.
It's nothing to be, because it's about the Paul Feinbaums. It's about the Dan Orlovskys crowning this kid as something from a talent level that he hasn't shown.
But that's your opinion. Like, I think he has shown that. I think that there is a generational talent in that we've seen in the small body of work. And again, measuring it up against an opponent is a fair thing.
But so this is what I want to say this. Lamar's first start wasn't great. I remember Jordan, my son,
yes,
running down the hallway when Louisville played Auburn in Atlanta his freshman year. Nobody knew who he was. They ended up putting him into the game late. Jordan runs down the hall to the kitchen, and he said, "Dad, I just saw my favorite player in the world." At that time, I had no idea what Lamar's miles per hours were. But when I watched it, and when my son watched it, who was a child, he knew.
That's fair.
That's not happening.
Yeah. But Lamar's rare. Like, Lamar's rare.
Generational talent. If Arch Manning is that, it's by birth. Nothing else yet. Nothing else yet. I'm not saying he's not going to be that. I'm not saying the guy can't play. Yeah. I'm saying there is nothing that he has shown us yet. We shall see.
Disagree.
I'm not saying that he hasn't shown us.
Here's what you can do, though, Dan. When he gets drafted number 1 overall in 2 years, just retweet it. And put a bullseye on it.
You know I will.
Agree to disagree.
You want this, you got that.